Half of what an indicator draws is information, the other half is instruction. The old ladder mixed the two. Big labels that looked like commands sat next to labels that were just context, and you couldn't tell them apart at a glance. Ladder 3.1 splits the screen into two strict layers, a raw layer that only informs, and a managed layer that only executes. In this episode, you'll learn to read both, and by the end, every mark on this chart will mean exactly one thing to you. Start with the ladder itself. 3 stages now with small markers and honest names. 1 of 3, candidate. A regular RSI divergence just confirmed. Price made a lower low, RSI made a higher low. It's a candidate, nothing more. Hover the marker and the tooltip tells you the pivot sits 6 bars back, where the divergence line points. That's a fix, not a detail. The old version drew this label on the pivot bar itself, 6 bars in the past, as if the signal had been there all along. 2 of 3, level reclaimed. Price closed back above the pivot candle's high. The old version called this a structure break, but that's not what the code checks, so we renamed it to what it actually is. 1 candle's level reclaimed. 3 of 3, momentum. Okay, RSI back above 50, price back above the 21 EMA. Notice what these names do not say. They don't say enter. In the validated profile, the ladder narrates how a setup matures. The entry decision belongs to a different layer entirely. Same philosophy for the structure marks. BOS, a close beyond the last confirmed swing. CHOCH, the same break but against the standing structure, the first crack of a possible trend change. SFP, the wick takes out a swing level, the close snaps back, a liquidity sweep. Every one of them carries its explanation in a tooltip now, so the chart doesn't have to. All of it is small, translucent, one word. Because it's background. Context should whisper. Only orders should shout. Here's where the layers pay off. We added 2 optional panes. The first draws the divergence itself, a dot on every pivot's RSI, and a bright line whenever price makes a lower low, while RSI refuses to follow. The second shows volume with the gate drawn on it. That yellow line is 1.3 times the 20-bar average, the exact threshold the validated signal uses. Bars that clear it are bright, bars that don't are faded. Now watch all 3 floors at once on Ethereum. Price is pressing into a pullback. In the RSI pane, the divergence line is already drawn. Price lower, RSI refusing. And in the volume pane, the signal bar punches through the yellow line. Three floors agree, and only then does the managed layer speak. Setup confirmed, then plan opened at the next bar's open. Entry 1911.61. Stop, and both targets drawn. The panes don't add new rules. They make the existing rules visible. That managed layer runs the exact same execution engine as the sniper, and in the default, validated trend-aligned profile, it takes the exact same signals too. Divergence plus the 1-hour trend, the EMA alignment, and the volume gate, verified trade for trade against our harness. 1 plan at a time, stop wins ties, fees in the stats. Same engine, same numbers. 63.3% win rate in high win rate mode, plus 8.2R over 2.5 years, 5 coins. And if you want to experiment, that's what the custom profile is for. Switch it and the gate toggles unlock. You can allow counter-trend candidates, drop the volume requirement, even make the ladders 3 of 3 the actual plan trigger. But the moment you do, a yellow banner appears on the dashboard and the stats table, custom. Published benchmark does not apply. We tested reversal-style configurations through an 8-stage study this month. After costs, they lost. So experiment freely. The banner just makes sure nobody mistakes an experiment for the validated edge. Both indicators are free, by the way, link below. Back to the chart. The last change is what's gone. Pistol and L patterns, the Gartley harmonic, the 4-hour channel, the MA gap readout, the watch partial exits, the best presets, removed. Not because they were all worthless, but because each one either polluted the performance table, or issued commands that were never validated, or just made the chart harder to read. Deleting them was the upgrade. What's left is one honest pipeline, information on one layer, execution on the other, and a scorecard that counts exactly what the engine did. Next episode, the research story, including why this system deliberately does not chase the big vertical rallies. The rebuilt ladder and the sniper are both free permanently. Open an exchange account through our link, finish KYC and your first deposit, apply on the page, access covers both, every future version included. Link below, subscribe for the next episode.